It seems to me, first of all, from what I understand from doctors, that's really rare. If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down.
And when it comes to establishing your worldview, I was curious, what newspapers and magazines did you regularly read before you were tapped for this to stay informed and to understand the world?
I've read most of them, again, with a great appreciation for the press, for the media.
But like what one specifically, I'm curious that you...
all of them, any of them that have...
Can demonic spirits attach themselves to inanimate objects? The answer is yes.
Welcome to Twat Waffle of the Week.
Greetings and welcome to part 2 for this week's Twat Waffles. So we continue with the Nevada GOP. And as the article notes, the Nevada GOP should not be surprised when something they helped create, election conspiracy theorists, bites them in the ass. Quote,
Joe Lombardo, the former Clark County sheriff who rebranded in the primary as a hardline right-winger, is projected by the Associated Press to defeat Gilbert, a COVID truther and voter fraud conspiracist who marched on the Capitol on January 6th. Lombardo led Gilbert 38.4% to 27.6%, with 82% of the precincts reporting Wednesday morning. Gilbert immediately declared that he would not concede the race and may even file a lawsuit contesting the race. Maybe the establishment and swamp rats forgot who they're dealing with, he wrote on Facebook, adding a rat emoji. I smell a lawsuit because this stinks. I will concede nothing. No one likes No-Show Joe, and he absolutely is not beating me and will not beat me in a fair fight/race. There's a reason a real fighter with real legal teams is in this fight.
End quote. Keep in mind, this is Michelle Fiore's home state. An unnerving ending to a story that I posted about in February. Quote,
we have new details on a case we've been following for weeks. An Auburn man gained national attention after being arrested for leaving flowers on his fiance's grave. The arrest warrant for Winston Higgins had a charge for littering after he left a flower box on his fiance's grave. Earlier today, the judge heard both sides on if a flower box should be considered litter or not. In court during Thursday's bench trial, Judge Jim McLaughlin found Higgins guilty of criminal littering after leaving flowers on his fiance's grave, with a $50 charge for littering and a court fine of $250. The defense plans to appeal the decision. However, the city prosecutor said there would be no jail time if Higgins agreed not to place any more boxes on the grave.
As much as I hate to say it, just let it go, dude. Experience has shown me you're not going to win against the parents. So, Kent, should we expect this Death Angel by midterm or 2024?
All of these evil men that the enemy is manipulating in this nation. Yesterday, when God began to prophesy, and you've heard me say it here recently, because I heard the Lord tell me, he said, I'm going to loose a death angel in the earth. And this morning I was in prayer and I was reflecting on that because I realized it was a very strong word. I'm not just slinging stuff out when I prophesy. I'm hearing what the Lord has to say, and I understand the impact of it. The Lord spoke to me. He said, And it's the same angel that I loosed in Egypt. Man, I feel the sovereignty of the Lord. They ain't going to be voted out. They're going to be removed out.
You may say to yourselves, how can we know when a message has not been spoken by the Lord? If what a prophet proclaims in the name of the Lord does not take place or come true, that is a message the Lord has not spoken. That prophet has spoken presumptuously, so do not be alarmed. Deuteronomy 18:21-22, NIV. So, Mr. Kent, I would take fair warning. Thankfully, no one was injured, but it doesn't seem like the dude cared or not. Quote,
A Massachusetts man charged with setting fire to the Satanic Temple's headquarters in Salem was ordered held without bail Monday. Daniel Damian Lucy, 42, of Chelsea, pleaded not guilty to arson, destruction of a place of worship, and civil rights violation charges during his arraignment in Salem District Court. He's due back in court next Tuesday to determine whether he can be released or poses a danger. Prosecutors say a doorbell security camera captured Lucy pouring lighter fluid on the porch of the Satanic Temple headquarters, lighting a fire and walking away Friday night. Lucy, who was wearing a t-shirt emblazoned with the word God, also left a backpack containing a copy of the U.S. Constitution and a Bible.
end quote. There is not much more that I can say other than disgusting. Quote,
In an interview with right-wing radio host Trey Graham, Paxson acknowledged that it is difficult to give comfort to families who lost their kids. If I lost one of my children, I'd be pretty devastated, especially in a way that is so senseless and seemingly has no purpose, he continued. I think I would just have to say, if I had the opportunity to talk to the people, I'd have to say, look, there's always a plan. I believe God always has a plan. Life is short, no matter what it is, and certainly we're not going to make sense of, a young child being shot and killed way before their life expectancy.
end quote.
It might give a little comfort.
Look, I think it's difficult to give comfort. If I lost one of my children, I'd be pretty devastated, especially in a way that is so senseless and seemingly has no purpose. I think I would just have to, if I had the opportunity to talk to people, I'd have to say, look, there's always a plan. I believe God always has a plan. Life is short, no matter what it is, and certainly we're not going to make sense of a young child being shot and killed way before their life expectancy. And so even though we can't make sense of it, I would just have to encourage them to hold on to their faith and to hold on to their belief.
This comment says it all. Quote,
Dude forgot about the separation of church and state, and that this nation is a melting pot, not a single ingredient.
end quote.
I think our government should be run 100% by Christians, no Hindus allowed, no Muslims allowed, no atheists allowed. That, I think that'd be great. We're supposed to be a Christian nation here.
The mistake that Anderson makes, supposed to be a Christian nation, where in the U.S. Constitution does it say or even hint at that? This is why there is no religious tests allowed for government office. As I have stated prior, quote. Bear in mind, the only reference to religion in the Constitution is in Article 6. No religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. In other words, political power in the United States may never be limited to people of one faith, which is a necessary condition for a, quote, Christian nation, but must be open to people of all faiths or none, end quote. So, according to NPR, this is not just a Marjorie Taylor Greene issue. Republican legislators in Georgia, Florida, Arizona, Texas, and other states are trying to crack down with proposals to ban minors from drag shows. Now, what I would like to ask MTG et al., would you ban children from Hooters? Think about it. You see, dressing in drag isn't a sexual act, and drag performances, drag events, can be tailored towards children or towards all age audiences. Parents are perfectly free not to take their children to events with drag performers, but parents should also be free to do so. In other MTG news, I've really come to the conclusion she is a fucking idiot. One of many. Pretty much anything she states in her rants, especially on MTG Live, everything is wrong. As Badash notes,
MTG opposes the worldwide scientific consensus that climate change is harming the Earth and may lead to mass extinction, declaring that global warming is good for the planet and humans.
We've already warmed 1 degree Celsius, and do you know what's happened since then? Here, let me tell you. We have had more food grown since then, which feeds people. We are able to, producing fossil fuels keeps people's houses warm in the winter. That saves people's lives. People die in the cold.
Right.
This earth warming and carbon is actually healthy for us. It helps us to feed people. It helps keep people alive. It helps. The earth is more green than it was years and years ago, and that's because of the earth warming. That's because of carbon. Because
see also a short Professor Stick video dealing with just this issue, specifically Marjorie Taylor. Link is in the show notes. So this episode would not be complete without Bobo news, but to be honest, I can't make heads or tails out of her whacked out bullshit. Sadly, a lot of it requires very lengthy explainers, and to be honest, I'm brain dead. I just can't do it this week. So I've decided to cut this episode short, as much as I hate to do it. And with that, I bid you adieu.